Hey, 2022, new year, but I'm still here in the ghetto. Today, we're checking out the Keychron Q2. It feels like just last month I was working on the Q1. So this is a first impressions video. I feel like I should spend some more time with this board before I give a full review on it. Yeah, let's move on to the unboxing. So, same old box, looks almost the same as the Q1. But unlike the Q1, the cable here is not coiled, nor is there a GX16 connector. Now for the board. My unit here is in the navy blue variant. I would probably rate this finish a 6 out of 10. It's a little bit glittery. Not my kind of thing. The Q2 comes in 4 different variations. I'll pop them on the screen along with the price of each. I have here the bare bones knob kit. Before we go any further, I really need to point this out. The stabilizers. It's not how they sound or they rattle, it's how they look. The odd color choice for these stabilizers. I just feel like there could have been a better decision there. Now let's talk about this knob. Right out of the box, it's default to control the volume. But thanks to VIA, you can change this to whatever you like. To do so, you'll have to download the key map file from Keychron. Links will be in the description. I was a bit confused at first as to why none of the keys that I was remapping was working at all. But what I discovered is that layer 0 acts as the Mac layout when you have the switch next to the USB-C port to Mac. And layer 1 is for PC. So I left the default settings for the knob as is. However, I reprogrammed the knob to change RGB whenever FN is held down, and when pressed, it toggles RGB on and off. Now let's check out the inside of the board. The board is held together by 8 hex screws, and when taking apart the board, it's best to remove the bottom half first, as the top half is connected with the plate and PCB by this little connector here, which has been improved from the questionable connector that was used in the Q1. The plate here is a steel plate. There's not much flex at all. It's definitely got some heft to it. It's a thick one. There's a sheet of foam between the PCB and the bottom case that's used to help with the acoustics of the board. It seems to do its job. The Q1 had its issues right out of the box, where it sounded really hollow, pingy, it didn't sound good. And it's safe to say that with the Q2, Keychron fixed a lot of those issues. Now, I'm not saying the board sounds superb, but they did fix the key issues with the Q1. So this is what the Q2 sounded like with no modifications and stock switches. Not too bad, right? But to take it a step further, I lubed these switches with Krytox 205G0 and filmed them. And this is what the board sounded like. Notice any improvement? Well, to try to improve things even more, I did the modification that I thought was best with the Q2, which was switch pads from KVD fans. These switch pads are applied on top of the PCB, laying in between the PCB and where the switches are mounted. There are 6 standoffs holding the PCB and plate together, and I removed the 2 in the center, but because of how thick this plate is, I don't think it did much. So this is what the board sounded like with lubed switches and the switch pads from KVD fans. So what'd you think? So after messing around with the Q2 for a bit, I'd say it's a pretty good board for what it is. Keychron definitely dealt with the issues that were plaguing the Q1. Something that I've been struggling with is trying to figure out what other 65% the Keychron Q2 is competing against. And by that I mean a 65% with an aluminum body that's under $200. I know there's the KBD67 Lite, the Icky 68, the NK65 entry edition, and there's also the NK65 aluminum edition, but that's not readily in stock. If there's a board that I just can't think of, please let me know in the comments down below. And if you have any questions you want to ask, I will be streaming live January 13th at 5 p.m. Pacific time here on YouTube. So if you have any questions, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified right when the stream is live. But that's about it for me today. Thanks for tapping with me, and I'll tap with you guys in the next one. Toodles!